Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility. That's right, it's Wednesday. New release day here on the channel. It's like a holiday week. Probably not going to get to as many new album releases as I wanted to because just, with the holidays, even though I've been off, it's like there's so much going on. It's just, I've had a hard time listening to those last handful of albums that I wanted to get to before the year is up. So we may spend the first week or two in January just kind of catching up on those late 2022 releases. But I did want to get you at least this. You may get one or two others today. We'll see how it goes. But I wanted to get you this one because this is kind of an extra special little box set that came out fairly recently. It is the 50th Anniversary Edition of that classic fourth studio album from Neil Young, released February 1st, 1972. Harvest, the box set, of course, 50th Anniversary Edition. All sorts of goodies in this particular album. Of course, produced by Neil, along with Elliot Mazer, Henry Louis, and Jack Nishi. Right, recorded at Quadraphonic Sound in Nashville, Barking Town Hall in London, Royce Hall, UCLA, and Broken Arrow, Woodside, California. Of course, the barn, right? Neil's barn. And he put this album together with a group of kind of like country musicians that he named the Stray Gators, right? And those folks are comprised of Teddy Irwin on acoustic guitar, John Harris on piano, James McMahon also on piano. You've got, who else we got here? James Taylor appears on this album, Linda Ronstadt, David Crosby, Stephen Stills, Graham Nash, of course, Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Backing vocals, the London Symphony Orchestra, Dave Meacham, conductor, and of course the Stray Gators themselves. Ben Keith on pedal steel guitar, Jack Nishi on piano, lap steel guitar, Tim Drummond bass guitar, and Kenny Buttrey on drums. Okay, so let's take a look at the box set, right? So this is one of those open straight up, not kind of like the clamshell thing that's attached. So in the box we've got we've got the hype sticker. Steven, that's for you. We've got a little, almost like kind of like a little post-it note from Neil, which says, visit me at www.neilyoungarchives.com, where you can experience so much more, including thousands of my audio and video recordings, all the details and memorabilia behind them, and my personally written newspaper, $19.99 per year. Okay. You've got a very cool little hardcover book, just so you know. It's pretty hard in here, and again, it's small, right? So it's like a little mini book, but you've got all sorts of cool stuff about Harvest, little notes and anecdotes, and lots of photographs from the sessions, recording sessions, some live shots, fair amount of text, Neil playing guitar, right? All sorts of cool things. I mean, we as fans love this stuff. So I'm not going to show you the whole book, but you're going to want to check that out yourself. We get the Harvest album remastered. Okay, and it comes in like a mini replica LP sleeve, gatefold, right? And of course, you should know all the songs on here, right? You go out on the weekend, Harvest, A Man Needs a Maid. Oh, I love A Man Needs a Maid. I know some people don't dig that song. Man, I love the chorus. The strings are really cool. Heart of Gold, obviously classic. Are You Ready for the Country? Old Man, right? One of the two hits on this album, Heart of Gold and Old Man, big hits. There's a World, also with London Symphony Orchestra. That's a very cool song. Then you got Alabama, which is kind of more like a... Sounds like more of something he would do a Crazy Horse, right? More of a rockin' song. There's just a couple rockin' tracks on here. Most of the rest of this is kind of like country folk type of thing. Alabama, great song. The Needle and the Damage Done, of course, right? Really heavy lyrics on that one. It's a real quick song, but very, very intense. And then, of course, Words, Between the Lines of Age is the big, long kind of mini epic at the end. That's a little more rockin'. Got a cool electric guitar solo from Neil. But, yeah, just a really kind of, it's interesting because this is not one of my favorite Neil Young albums, but it belongs like in everyone's top 10. I know a lot of people who think this is the greatest Neil Young album ever. I wouldn't go that far. You can watch my Neil Young album ranking here to find out what my favorites were. But I do like this album. I think it's really cool. It's a little different. I'm not normally kind of like an acoustic, kind of folky type of person, but there is a charm and a simplicity to this album, which I think is undeniable. So you get the remastered disc, which sounds really, really great. You get, which for a lot of people I think is a reason to get this, you get the a CD of the Harvest outtakes. Okay, you get 3 tracks. It's only about maybe 7 minutes, 8 minutes in total. 3 songs. They're each really short. You got Bad Fog of Loneliness, Journey Through the Past, and Dance, 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 which are songs that were left off the album. You know, because they're so brief, they probably should have just been left onto the album because it's not a really long album to begin with. I don't find either of these 3 tracks all that remarkable. They're okay. They're good. They're brief, little kind of acoustic, kind of folky country ditties. They're fine, right? They to me, they don't quite match up with the majesty of the rest of the album, but I think they definitely sound like they came from the same sessions, and I guess it's kind of a shame that they weren't. Why they didn't put it all on one disc is beyond me. Why put a separate CD that's only like 8 minutes worth of data on it when you could have just easily put it on the end of this as bonus tracks so everybody now can take this and listen to the whole album the way it probably was meant to be. So a little bit of a demerit points for this, for that. What else we got? We have a poster, okay, which I'm not going to open up, but this opens a nice black and white shot of the guys jamming in the barn. We have, because there's more, we've got Neil Young, BBC in concert from February 23rd, 1971. You have it on CD, okay, which is, what do we got here? Out on the Weekend, Old Man, Journey Through the West, Heart of Gold, Don't Let It Bring You Down, A Man Needs a Maid, Love in Mind, Dance, Dance, Dance. Okay, which is basically just Neil on stage in front of the BBC audience on acoustic guitar, piano, harmonica, singing. It's very, very charming. Neil is he's in very good spirits. He jokes a little bit in between songs. There's like this shyness about him, which I find really, really charming in this little performance here. It's a really good performance, and it kind of shows you the true nature of Neil Young, I think, which is kind of cool. And then you get the DVD of the performance, right? Really interesting, and I've seen people talk about this on the internet. The CD sounds amazing, okay? Really fresh, really crisp for something that's so old. The DVD looks good, but the audio is very distorted in spots. Like, what's going on? So it's almost to the point where you watch it and you're kind of like, oh, that sounds a little really harsh, very strange. Can't really crank it up too high if you're watching it on your home, theater system. It's very distorted and it's kind of jarring, which is a shame because it's a very intimate, kind of quiet concert, right? But anytime he gets going on the piano or starts, playing the harmonica or strumming a bit on the guitars, you hear this little bit of distortion. It's kind of noisy, which is very strange. But it's a wonderful, wonderful little performance. Right? Again, like I said, recorded on February 23rd, 1971, BBC Radio Theatre, London, England. The first broadcast in the UK, April 1st, 1971. So now you have the whole performance here, which is really cool. But the reason to get this whole box set, if you're a big Neil Young fan, I'm a fan. I'm not an enormous fan, but I'm a fan. I found Harvest Time, the 2-hour film, which is on DVD. This is worth the price of admission right here. This is basically a home movie that Neil kind of recorded and put together during this whole time period. The planning of the album, the recording of the album, all the various sessions at the barn, in the studios, in London with the orchestra, all that sort of thing. Radio interviews. Scott Shannon from the early days is on here. You get behind the scenes stuff, interviews with him, lots of walking around and hanging out at the ranch, playing in the barn with the guys, in the studio with Crosby, Stills, and Nash doing backing vocals and how they work together. You get lots of stuff of them, Neil drinking, Neil getting high, everybody getting high, all this kind of stuff. It's a fascinating look behind the scenes into the world of Neil Young, who's a very young guy at the time. What was he, in his early mid-20s? I honestly, I don't know if I've ever paid that much attention to Neil beyond the stage, beyond the album. So this for me was very, very cool to see kind of how he works and how much of a perfectionist he is, even at such a young age, and how meticulous he was with this album of songs that are actually very, very simple, right? So it's fascinating. This is a really, really cool film that I don't think has ever been fully released as is right here. So Harvest Time, a film from 1971, and again, basically you get sections of the film which center on the creation of each song. So you have like Alabama, Words Between the Lines of Age, Are You Ready for the Country, Stray Gator Waltz, A Man Needs a Maid, There's a World, Out in the Weekend, Heart of Gold, Old Man and Harvest. So again, those are kind of like the chapters. But I actually watched portions of this like 2 and 3 times. I kept going back and rewatching things. And I'm like, wow, this is fascinating stuff. So yeah, this is the reason to get this. The concert is really cool. But again, just note that there are some issues with the sound on that. The CD of the concert is perfect. You get the poster in case you want to kind of hang it up on your wall, put it in a frame. You get the remastered CD, which is awesome. You get the 3 extra tracks, the outtakes. Should have just put it on the end of the remastered CD. That's also kind of puzzling. But all in all, this is a very, very cool box set that I think, God, how much did I pay for this? I think it was $43, I think, something like that, which, not too shabby. Not too shabby considering what you get. Oh, and the booklet, too. I didn't want to not mention the booklet there, which is, cool little reading for those of you who like that sort of thing, and I know most of you do. So, there we go. Cool book. So lots of good stuff. If you're a Neil Young fan, you got to have it. Like I said, not my absolute favorite Neil Young album, but it's definitely a top 10 album for sure. Maybe even top 5. It's just one of those kind of albums of its kind that I think has really stood the test of time. So there you have it. Harvest 50th Anniversary Box Set Edition. You're going to want it if you're a fan. You're going to want it. So, thanks for watching. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. All together. All the damn time. Stay tuned. Might have a couple more things coming up for you. I got another Neil Young little box set release I want to talk about, which came out this year as well. So, I do want to mention that. And I've got a couple of things here. May not get to all of it today. But stay tuned, right? So, thanks for watching. I am Pete Pardo. We'll see you later on with more content here on the channel. Till then, bye-bye.